at Parkside Elementary, 6938 Southeast N Ave. There will be another useless CBA forum with guests of Mayor Brandon Johnson, Alderwoman Jeanette Taylor, and Alderman Desmon Yancy. Hear more about the status of the ordinance, updates about the city's response to the demands, and what we hope to get passed this year. Obama Center, ? Yes. Displacement, ? No. RSVP at bit.ly/CBA Forum 25. So this is a whole racket, but I'm going to break down what this is. So when big development projects come to our neighborhoods, politicians and developers often promise protection, benefits, and opportunities for local residents. One tool they claim will deliver on these promises is a Community Benefits Agreement, CBA. On paper, CBAs are supposed to guarantee jobs, affordable housing, and protections against displacement. But in practice, especially here in Chicago, CBAs have become a political performance, a way for city leaders to appear responsive while the community continues to face displacement, rising taxes, and gentrification. This forum, run by the City of Chicago, with Mayor Brandon Johnson, Alderwoman Jeanette Taylor of the 20th Ward, Alderman Desmon Yancy of the 5th Ward presenting, is a prime example. The Obama Presidential Center may be involved as a venue or symbolic partner, but it is not organizing or controlling the event. Residents are told to stay engaged and keep fighting, yet behind the scenes, no binding agreements exist to actually protect our homes and neighborhoods. And Obama himself refused to sign the CBA, leaving the community with no enforceable protections. What is a CBA? A Community Benefits Agreement is a contract between developers and community groups. In theory, it guarantees benefits like affordable housing, jobs, protections against displacement, or money reinvested in the community. CBAs started appearing in the late 1990s and early 2000s in cities like Los Angeles, New York, and Atlanta, usually tied to big developments like stadiums or corporate headquarters. When did it start? The first widely recognized CBA was tied to the Staples Center in Los Angeles, 2001. Local groups organized and forced developers to sign a binding contract for housing, jobs, and parks. On paper, it looked like a win for grassroots organizing, but only if the agreement was enforceable. Since then, CBAs have spread, but their effectiveness depends entirely on whether they are binding and truly community-driven. Why CBAs can be dangerous. Political cover. Leaders use CBAs to appear responsive, but often nothing changes. Divide and conquer tactic. Developers pick which community groups to negotiate with, leaving others out. False security. Elders and residents are told the CBA will protect them while displacement continues. No binding equals no power. If the agreement isn't enforceable, it's just empty promises. The Obama Center CBA was never signed, so it has no teeth. Why this forum isn't effective. No binding agreement. Obama never signed the CBA. Stalling tactics. Meetings like this delay accountability while developers, landlords, and speculators push displacement forward. False hope. Residents are told to stay engaged, but deals are already made closed doors. The dangers of leading elders on. Erosion of trust. Elders who fought through segregation, housing discrimination, and urban renewal are misled. Votes for empty promises. Politicians appear before elections selling hope without actual protections. Permanent displacement. By the time elders realize the promises aren't real, homes are lost and neighborhood identity disappears. Chicago Flip Red demands real enforceable protections and community-driven action. Any CBA must be legally enforceable with clear accountability measures. Residents must have direct oversight of development projects, including decision-making powers on funds, jobs, and housing allocations. No more political theater. All negotiations, contracts, funding decisions must be public and accessible to the community. Transparency is a must. Elder protections. Implement immediate safeguards for seniors and disabled and long-term residents to prevent displacement, rising taxes, or predatory buyouts. Accountability for officials. City leaders and developers who bypass enforceable protections must face consequences for misleading residents and removing them out of office. Neighborhood preservation. Funds and policies must prioritize keeping communities intact, protecting homes and local businesses, and cultural identity. Forums like this buy time for politicians and developers, not security for residents. Chicago First Red will continue to hold leaders accountable and fight for real community-driven solutions that protect neighborhoods and honor residents' voices. We will not be pacified by promises with no power, real protections, real accountability. That's what our neighborhoods deserve. Now, Jeanette Taylor of the 20th Ward saw me protesting outside, and she was one of the first people to come over to me and said that she was going to look into my case. Also admitted that this has been going on in our communities for quite some time, and a couple of other people have came to her. She also said she was going to reach out to Brian Sitcho Lopez because he was the chairman of Housing and Real Estate, and she was the vice chair. And what they thought was I wasn't going to keep pushing on. So this was the summer of 2023. Then she told me that her and Stephanie Coleman and a few other people were going to put on a panel about the displacement in our communities and how they're gentrifying and all of those things. That never happened as well. They're all in on this. They are pushing us out by and leading us on with forums like the CBA, which is dangerous. They also, the University of Chicago is involved. A lot of I know one of the Jewish Alliance programs, their organizations, they're involved as well. And one of the weird things that I've seen when I went to a few of these CBA forums, the last one I went to, it was in this church in Woodlawn, and the people that were leading the meeting, they were all trans. They were all trans. They were all trans men. They were all part of the LGBTQ. The majority of them were students from the University of Chicago. And then you had the elders in there that were confused and didn't really know what was going on. And basically nothing happened. Senator Peters came in there talking a bunch of nothing. Lamont Robinson came in there. Alderman Lamont Robinson came in there, talked a bunch of nothing. Desmon Yancy was the one who was hosting it. He was talking a bunch of nothing. And then I remember going to something in 2023 when I was listening to seniors saying that they were being displaced, saying that they're not being heard, that the University of Chicago is not responding, Joe Biden is not responding, President Obama is not responding. And I remember telling them, hold y'all vote. Hold y'all vote. I promise you somebody will come talk to you. You know, and I saw that in 2023 when I saw the BS when I went to one of these events with a lady who now her place was taken. They took her whole. She had two houses on one. And I watched them lead her on. I watched them act like they were going to stand with her. I watched them give her all these empty promises. I knew that they were BS, but at the end of the day, you're giving our elders and people false hope. So I recommend anybody that is available September 27th to go to this forum. I would register. I will make sure I put the register there that you can go. It's September 27th from 12 to 2 at Parkside Elementary, 6938 Southeast N Ave. And look for yourself. Watch how they have no solutions. Okay? It's midterm season. They need these votes, and they know that it's not looking too good. So that's the main reason. So they're going to go in there and get him false hope. Nothing is going to get passed. The CBA thing is a racket, and they're going to keep leading long-term residents in the Woodlawn High Park, Washington Park area on because they want that land.